We are live-ish. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Millionaires Are Made, where we share the simplest, easiest advice so everyone can grow on their journey to being a millionaire. Today's episode is to help millionaires in spiritual health. We're going to be going over core values, which in the last probably 2 years, maybe 3 years of my life, have become very, very, very important. So hopefully you guys will stay with us all day. We've got two awesome guests, and they're going to go over a little bit on spiritual health and core values. If you want to be a guest, it's easy. It takes no time. All you got to do is let us know, and we'll get you in and get you all signed up for one of our future episodes. Of course, we do 6 different types of health. We do financial health, physical health, mental health, spiritual health, social health, and intellectual health. So if you know anything about anything in any one of those, please sign up and be a guest. We're always looking for more guests. Without further ado, let's dive into core values. So in the last 2 or 3 years, this has really become, in my life at least, very, very, very important, and it's been all over the place. Almost everything that I do shows up and tells me all about core values. I am actually going to give my tip at the end of this episode, since we only have 2 guests. So without further ado, we're going to hop on and bring Leon out. Leon, how you doing today?
Hi, good, thank you. You?
I am doing great. Excited to hear about you and your journey you're on right now. But first, I've got one quick question for you. Who are you?
Well, that's easy. First of all, I am a holistic healer, doing 49 healing modalities at the moment. Still learning, accomplishing whatever needs to be accomplished on my mission, and healing retreats, spiritual transformation journeys, everything connected to, let's say, holistic living.
Very cool. All right. And where are you based out of?
I'm from Slovenia, currently, and partially or part-time in Bosnian pyramids.
In where?
Bosnian pyramids.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
I've got a very important question for you, Leon.
Cool.
If I wanted to improve my spiritual health with core values, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
Simply, that's very simple actually. Control your ego.
Control your ego. Oh boy.
Yes.
All right, I better tune in on this one. Tell us some more about that. How do I control my ego?
When you drive to whatever store, grocery store or wherever, where do you park? Usually closest to the entrance, right? Or the exit. Well, how about to try parking further away and leaving the parking space nearby for disabled, or the ones that are not disabled but let's say elderly, or someone that is have trouble walking, things like that. Control your ego. So going to the fastest and easiest way, it's not the right path, if you ask me. Basically following Jesus' path. I'm not talking about Christianity as a religion, but teaching he did back then, sorry. So it's not the easiest part, not the easiest path anyway, but it gets you there faster, a lot faster.
Do you have an ego?
Of course I do. We all do. The catch is not to kill it, not to destroy it, but recognize it and control it. It's our personality. Talk to it. I do it all the time when I'm pissed off about whatever, I hear this voice in my head. Then I talk to it.
So talk to yourself. Okay, cool.
Yeah, in my mind, to talking to myself, it's like talking to another personality, to another person. Yeah, it helps a lot for me anyway. So yeah,
I mean, I talk to myself all the time. That is very true. I've heard that there are people that don't talk to themselves, but I've never lived that life, so I can't relate.
I don't know. I don't know them
I don't know that.
anyway. But if I would fear someone, that would be those people that don't talk to each other, don't talk to themselves, because they're so blindfolded by their egos, though, that they're capable of everything. You know.
I agree with that. Yeah. So, Leon, what happened in your life journey that led you to this? What taught you about ego and controlling ego?
Actually, my wife.
Oh,
She's
that's all.
she's let's say, um, spiritual person, spiritual teacher, universal solar teacher, and whole lot of stuff more. Um, and I met her, what, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. Uh, and I started going to her workshops, starting to grow spiritual. And the first thing she taught me, control your ego, period. And then it took me a few years to figure it out how to.
Can you give us some tips on how to?
Yeah, go the opposite way. Period. If it's tell you this is the quickest way to wherever, go the opposite. Go. If it tells you go right, go left. Period.
So
Yeah.
essentially, ego is driving you into poor decisions.
Yeah, the easiest, the fastest way. It's like, if you compare your, let's say, spiritual journey like climbing a mountain, you have three ways. You have touristic way, the long way. It's easy, right? You make billions mistakes along the way. uh, the ego stuff. Then there is a mountaineering way. It's a lot harder, but still takes a longer time, longer than the fastest. So a lot shorter than touristic way. But you need to know some things. You need to know, and you learn things relatively quickly, how to walk the path. Then there's, let's say, climber's way, climber's path, the direct way, the Jesus path. Uh, it's like walking on barefoot on fire with nails and glass. After the first step, you know where to step, to put your feet on. Period. The catch is, it's the fastest, but it's also the hardest in one lifetime.
Okay. All right. I like
So yeah, it's the fastest. But you need to have some comprehension that you're living the life of the soul, not human body. Human body just a vessel. It's just avatar. Period. It's it's like a suit. You put it on. When you die, you put it off.
it. Okay.
So only the soul matters. Period. So look at from the, and you know that soul is immortal, basically. It's energy, right? uh, and when you look at from that immortal perspective, uh, it means that one lifetime, let's say 100 years, it's nothing. It's just a blink of the eye. So if you, let's say, suffer uh, physical pain or whatever for 100 years, regarding looking for soul perspective, that's nothing. It's like think of let's say a mosquito, not even a bee, you know. And this is something to have in mind, that the human body is just passing through, uh, having the lessons, having the accumulating the knowledge and conforming with, let's say, the lawmaker, uh, that you learned whatever you need to learn. So if you look at from the perspective of soul, so let's say God, creator of everything, is giving you knowledge, right? The lessons. But who is the one that is at our exams? The opposite, right? Satan.
Right.
It's logical. So if you learn the lesson, you will not. Satan cannot do anything to you, basically. So you learn the lessons and you move on to another exam. That's same ego. If
It's all
you go, if you follow your ego, you're following path of Satan, basically.
interesting. All right.
Yeah, because the easiest way to wherever, it's only you, and no one else.
I mean, there's a lot to say about he who takes the toughest roads, and the people that we
Yeah,
respect and the people that make it all. No, not taking the easy route, it ends up paying off in the long run. I mean,
yeah,
you can look at sports, you can look at acting. All the people that
yeah.
are experts in their fields obviously didn't
Long
take the easy
run.
path and went the hard route. So that,
Yeah.
I mean, you can take priests who swear off sex. Whew.
Uh,
Sorry, the general thought of the
idea.
gosh,
Let's say idea. It's okay.
Leon. Oh, that's funny. Oh man. All right, Leon. Well, I'm gonna move on to our next guest, and we'll bring you back out in
Cool.
just a little bit. All right.
Perfect.
Hello, hello. Good afternoon there. Evening.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. All right. Tell us this. Who are you?
I am a Avital. Siri thinks my name is Albital. If you see me standing, you'll see why that's funny. There's hope for me, though, as there's hope for all of us. But that's really what I'm bringing out to people. I'm known as a galactic experiences creator who is a one-woman campaign against You'll Never. I was told
Ooh.
that I could never write. And yet I put together a book that won 4 awards and hit bestseller. The book is about my story of healing when I was told it was not possible. I can kind of keep going through all these stories of when I was told something, of what I couldn't achieve, and going around those boundaries.
Very cool. I like the campaign against You'll Never. That's awesome. Looks like we just posted your book as well, so the link is below for anyone that wants to check out her book. All right, I've got one really important question for you. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health through core values, what advice would you give me?
Tune into the authenticity of this moment.
Ooh, is this authentic? Is it? Oh man! All right.
I want to also keep playing off of the things that Leon was saying. I felt like he did a great lead into a lot of the principles that I follow as well. He talked about the ego. He talked about the soul. First, I want to mention about spirituality, because what we're often trying to do is think, okay, well, I don't like this state, so I want this other state. And oh, spirituality is that tool that's going to get me there. Research shows that people who have some sort of spiritual or religious life tend to be happier. I want to break down a little bit as to why. I am also in school studying psychology. So we've got quite a few of these pieces. I have the whole history of studying spirituality, living in a yoga community, meditation, yoga, energy healing. I've got all those things, neurolinguistic programming. We've got all those things to bring into the mix here. But here's the deal. First of all, what you'll notice is that I'm saying that there's something wrong. So then you're living in a state where you feel like there's something wrong. And if you believe in these spiritual principles, then what you're also doing is denying that what God created is good. Like you're denying his creation. So that's the first step, is to say, all right, well, God created this moment. And you might hear the phrase, everything happens for a reason. And the other side of that is it happens for us. And it happens for that deeper soul desire of what we came here for, which is very different for each of us. So then if we're using spirituality as a tool to change things, that's only going to get us so far. Because eventually we need to just be in that place and not necessarily be needing anything else, to know how to tap into joy without needing anything else to make that happen. If joy is that state, we don't even have to be joyful all the time. So I'm basically just giving you all a lot of freedom to be where you are and not try to force life to be different, which can feel very difficult. That's a whole other meeting we could talk about, is how do we deal with it when it doesn't feel good. But all right, Leon was talking about the ego. The ego is, and about what's the quick way, so do the opposite of that. The ego's job is to protect us and keep us safe. And it also wants to hold on to an identity. So it wants to create some sense of definition and sense of clarity. This is also what the mind wants. The unlimited amount of information in our world is too overwhelming for our minds. So we try to create specific core values. I'm going to pull in that core values part of the question.
I love it.
We try to create specific core values so that there's like a clear definition. There's like a roadmap. It's clear to everyone else. We know what to do. Okay, you hear the phrase, man plans and God laughs?
Yeah, I have, yes.
So unfortunately, life doesn't work that perfectly. And what we want to do is to then tune into each moment, because life is constantly shifting. And what might have been our core value in this situation at this moment of our life worked, but then life changes, we change, and that value is not relevant for this moment. And so there's a caution here as to creating too much definition. And that's why I say tune into the authenticity of this moment. What is trying to happen right now? What is trying to happen right now? And what we often try to do then is to process through the mind. And the mind, also like the ego, is trying to protect us and trying to simplify things. If you can tune into your feeling, and that can be a form of intuition, then you're sensing, all right, this is what I feel compelled to say, to do, to think in this moment, coming from that feeling place. It does create the challenge of always needing to be present in each moment and also flexible. But then we're in more honesty with that deeper soul desire. And also there's like a misnomer, Leon was touching on this, that is really nothing that impacts the soul. So we're also thinking like, oh, all these things are wrong. And the soul doesn't necessarily feel that way. The soul doesn't necessarily get disturbed by anything in life. And the soul is our perfect pure state. Those of us on a spiritual path, we're not all on it, and it's totally fine to not be on one. The spiritual path is about rediscovering the soul, not about changing ourselves. It's about taking the dirt off a beautiful stained glass window so you can see your beauty within again.
Your stained glass window soul. The stained glass window to your soul. All right.
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome, Avital. That is very in depth. I like it. What, I guess you're gonna have to touch real quick on this. We have about a minute left for you. Yep. Where on your journey, where did you learn this? How did it start?
I was living in a yoga community for almost 7 years, and it was like heaven, like bliss. The first half of the time, I'm meditating all the time, I'm living out in the mountains. It started to not feel like the right principles for me.
Okay.
And I actually felt like I was walking around with 1,000 swords in me. Because in a way, I had handed over how I was defining God, which is the most important thing to me, is to be connected with God, to these people. Their definition didn't resonate with me anymore. And there was one cute story where I was being asked to lead a yoga program as part of this healing retreat, either in the mornings or the afternoons. And I said, I'd like to lead it in the mornings so I could go to ballet in the afternoons. She said, oh, no, I don't want anyone in the program to be leaving the property and leaving God. And I said, do you really think that God doesn't come with me to ballet class? It was just through a lot of that awareness and the agitation that I was feeling inside in response to how I interpreted the teachings there that led me to this understanding. And then, of course, taking psychology, now I'm back in school, helps understand a little bit more of the research of the mind and what goes into the personality and the psychology of this.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll bring you back out in just a second. We're going to move on to my tip. All right. So you heard from Leon, you heard from Avital about ego and about authenticity. I'm going to try to bring it back down. So if you are confused what core values are, you don't have core values, you're looking for core values are something that you all have. You may just not have pinpointed it. Most of us believe in honesty and transparency, and some of us are more adventurous. Some of us believe in just having family and staying at home, different things like that. But we're all different, and we all have 4 or 5 major things that are absolutes in our life. It's important to write those down and know them. The core values essentially are the blueprints to build your emotionally stable house, right? They form your boundaries. So if you see, and if people are talking about boundaries to you in your life and you feel like you don't have boundaries, they're really easy to create once you have your core values. Figure out the 5 things that are most important to you in your entire life. It could be financial, could be spiritual, could be physical. Maybe one of your boundaries is you never have more than 12% body fat. That could be you. Maybe you're the other way. You never have a bad meal. Every meal is amazing. Whatever your core values are, make sure you write them down and figure them out. And then you can start figuring out who aligns with you. Just like Avital was talking about in her yoga community. The principles were not the same. So her core values were starting to maybe change, or maybe she just hadn't realized what they were and they weren't fitting her community, which is why she essentially left. Your core values build who you are, whether you like it or not. Both of them have talked about, your ego and your spirituality. So you may be living with your core values, but not even knowing it. So it's very important to get down and talk about it and discuss what your core values are and then setting your boundaries around those. If you have any questions on that, reach out to one of our guests or reach out to us and we'll send you to the right place, or you can hop on a call with me and I'll tell you all about core values. They're my favorite thing nowadays. So now we're going to move on to our next segment. We're going to bring both Leon and Avital back, and we're going to Avital, I almost mispronounced her name, and we'll bring them back and we'll talk about each other's tips for 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll come up with our favorite daily challenge. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi.
Fabulous.
Still.
All right, real quick. Let's go. Leon, can you quickly refresh? What was your tip?
Well, my tip is I forgot. Ego, yeah. Sorry.
Control ego, I think.
Control my ego, yes.
Control my ego.
Always.
And Avital actually went over a little bit in reply to that. And and as she's studying psychology, I'm sure that she's going to learn a lot more about it, especially with some ancient philosophers. I know Freud and Carl Jung were big on ego and talking about the ego. Any last thoughts about that, Leon?
Yeah, I couldn't mention before, but we have, let's say, 2 egos. Are talking about, let's say, bad side of the ego. That one I was talking about. Let's call it alter ego, and the healthy one. Let's say the angel inside of us that is always protecting us from, let's say, walking around with open heart and give. you know. This is the, let's say, God inside of us, or creator, whatever. So we need to control the other part, the alter ego, the bad side.
The bad side.
Yeah.
Avital, can you really quickly refresh what your tip was?
Tune into the authenticity of this moment.
Leon, are you doing that right now?
Always. I have to.
Good. That sounded like an ego answer.
No,
If you would like to fire your
look,
mind, if you would like to fire your ego,
it's about, yeah.
if you would like to
Look,
fire
it's,
your mind and ego and let your
Oh man. All right, Avital, go.
so you can fire your mind and ego and let the feelings of each moment take over and be your decision maker, and think of other ways to allow your mind and ego to give you information, but that's not necessarily how you make your final decision. So we work together with it in that way of control, like Leon was also talking about.
All right, it's time for the best part of the whole show. We have to come up with a daily challenge that is less than 5 minutes per day, costs $0, and anybody in the world has access to. What ideas do you guys have?
All right, I'll go. Along with this line of tuning in each moment, pay attention to what your deepest heart desire is. And how can you give yourself access to that 5 minutes a day? So you have to get a little creative to see, how is it possible to experience that? How can I do that without needing to spend any money? Do that from anywhere in the world. But let's say it is having your life partner, right? That's one of the most popular things that people want. And is it about the journey of achieving that? Is it about feeling connection in the moment? So can you spend a few minutes on one of those dating apps and look for your partner? And that, in a sense, helps you feel like you're connecting with that potential person out there. Can you do a visioning board, just a meditation and a visualization? But also, if it's more about, I want to feel a deep connection with somebody else, then contact for at least 5 minutes a day the people in your life who you already feel deep, intimate, authentic connections with, and get that connecting time and appreciate what's already there within what you want.
Leon, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, it's easy. Meditate, but in a very specific way.
Good. I like this. Easy to say meditate.
Yeah, meditate as long as possible and as much as possible, basically. But this meditation, this exercise should be very simple, but it's extremely powerful. So close your eyes for stuff. Then imagine nothingness. Just not black, no light, no thoughts, nothing. And when the thoughts are coming, observe them and try to focus only on one thought. Okay, that's something else. but to focus only on one thought, that's deep.
Okay, so let's change that one thought to maybe one core value. So maybe we challenge you to take like 5 minutes, and that'll also align with Avital's the deepest desire, right? That should be your core value. It should at least align with your core values. So let's challenge everyone to take 5 minutes to close your eyes and think about one of your core values, which should align with one of your deepest desires, I would hope.
Yeah.
Does that sound like a good challenge?
It is.
You like it, Avital?
I do.
All right. You guys don't seem that enthused.
I am. What?
We're We're just in our zen. That's
Are you
all.
guys currently doing the challenge right now? You're just meditating, thinking about your own one core value?
If you know me, I would say yes.
All right, so let's wrap it up. We'll have our daily challenge is going to be taking 5 minutes to meditate and think about one of your core values and what desires come from it. So you have 5 minutes to focus on it, hone in on it, and really get to have that core value in your soul, in your spirit, and bring it out to your body and your mind. Focus on that one core value, and then hopefully that'll grow. And each day you'll come up with a new one. If you only have 4 or 5 core values, you can just repeat them after you're done with them. Awesome. All right, we did it. We came up with a challenge. We gave some awesome advice. Leon, Avital, you were amazing. Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure having you on, and hopefully we'll see you again in a future episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate being on here. Good luck to everyone.
Good luck.
And that concludes another episode of Millionaires Are Made. Hopefully you guys all learned a little bit about spiritual health and core values, which are becoming there's so much science and data coming on core values. You got to have them. If you don't, reach out to Avital, reach out to Leon, reach out to us, and we'll get you their contact. It's extremely important. Hopefully you guys all had a good episode, and we'll see y'all next week, Wednesdays.